Hi! So in this one, we're going to talk about classes. This is just kind of an intro to classes, so we're not going to be going into too many of the specific details of them, more so just an overview and why we use them. Uh, don't mind the background, we're cleaning the carpets, and so everything's over here right now. So in Java, pretty much everything is either a class or inside of a class. The reason for that is this idea of encapsulation. And so encapsulation essentially means take all of the functionality of something and wrap it into this nice little package. Then you can use this package in other places and it's all self-contained. You encapsulate it, right? You can think of it as like let me get paint here. You can think of it as like here's the function, or not the function. Here's the class with all of its data. And there's only one way in and one way out, right? And it's on the function, or it's on the class's terms, right? So there's like a little bouncer here, and he's like, "All right, you coming in or not?" Right? He gets to decide. And there might be data functions. You could even have another object. You can have more stuff over here, right? But there's only one way in or out, right? You can't have stuff outside of the class editing things specifically, right? This isn't really an issue at small scales, but as you get to bigger and bigger um, projects, you're going to have like hundreds and hundreds of classes interacting with each other, and it can just turn into a mess. If you have this one interacting with this part of this, right? This comes over here and does this, and then this one goes and edits this, and then this is a subsection of this other part. It's just a mess. It's an absolute mess. Instead, what we do is we have the bouncer, right? We have different ways of accessing the class, and I'll go into that more in detail. But that's all you need to know. So that's the broad overview of why we use classes. Another is modularity, right? So say we have something that it has some sort of functionality to it, right? It's a unit. So we have our unit, right? We can take that unit, copy paste it, make a whole bunch of those same units, right? We don't have to recode the same thing because programmers are lazy, right? We like to do as little work as possible. Bang, we have 15 of these units and they each have their own attributes, right? They don't share anything actually. So they're all kind of copied off of this blueprint, right? Which is the initial class, right? So you make a class, right? This is a unit class. And you can say, okay, here are the specifications for the unit class. It needs some of these, it needs one of these, and it needs one of these. And you can take that and you can copy and paste it. And every single one will have its own pair of those that you can edit individually. Now remember, only the class can edit the things inside of itself. So you have to ask the class, hey, or I'm sorry, quick distinction. The class is the blueprint. An object is when you actually make something with the class. Okay? So it's like if you have a blueprint for a house, that's the class. And then actually making the house is instantiating an object, right? My house, right? This is an object, but it came from a blueprint. Somebody was building it, right? Java is the builder. Okay? So all of these, I'm going to highlight them in red. All of these, the actual instantiated parts, when you say, Java, make one of these, those are objects. They have a spot in memory. And in green over here, this is the class. This is the blueprint. Actually, I'll do it in blue because it's a blueprint. You need the blueprint in order to make the objects. And they each have their own specific set of parameters and functions and values, and you can do all sorts of fun stuff. So let's talk about how you can take something from your brain and put it into an object. So the first thing you want to do is you want to think about the thing abstractly, right? So the thing that everybody does is like, oh, well, think about a car, right? What's a car have? If we're making a car class, right? We're making a car class. Will car have a color? There's a color. It has number of wheels. It has current gas. It has GASS, current miles per gallon, and so on and so forth, right? These are not specific things that any car is. These are things that cars have. Cars have a color. Cars have a number of wheels. Cars, I need another R. Cars have current, right? I'm a bad speller. Cars have a current amount of gas. They have a mile per gallon, right? They have a number of passengers. This is what we want to do with a class, right? So we're going to not use this analogy because I don't like cars very much. What I do like are bugs. We're going to do a bug class. The bug class. So we need a blueprint for a bug. There are lots of different things that we can make this blueprint for, but I'm going to do it in code. So before we get into this, every class is in its own function. And you can see that main is in its own function. We have public class main. Main is actually a class. And inside of that class, we have a function, also called main. I'll get into this more in depth a little bit later, but when we go to make a new file, a new class, I'm going to call it bug. And classes always have a capital and then lower cases. And they always end in .java. So this bug.java is a blueprint. It's a class. So I'm going to say, I'm making a class called bug. And that needs to be exactly the same as the file. Curly braces. And that's all you need. That's it. Now this is really boring because we don't have anything, right? So we need a couple of things to get the bug class started, right? First, let's put in some variables, right? Oh, am I recording? I'm recording, yeah. Okay, cool. We need some variables, right, for our bug class. Let's say number of legs. We can say color. We can say wings, like does it have wings, and so on and so forth. But let's just go, oh, and a name. Bugs need a name. Okay, I'm gonna put this one at the top. All right. So let's think about what kind of data each of these need, right? Name should be a string, right? Because that one's kind of obvious. It's characters. So we have a string name. We don't set it to anything, right? Because this is a blueprint. We say it's going to have a name, but it doesn't have a specific name. And then we need number of legs. So we can say num legs, right? And that should be an int type, right? Because that's an integer. Color, that's another string. String color. And wings, I'm gonna do a Boolean here. You can put any type in here. Boolean has wings. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. So every bug that you make can have these parameters, right? Actually, let me see if it will let me make a bug, right? It doesn't have a constructor, so I don't think it will. Okay, we'll get into that now. So we have all of these parameters, right? And I could come in here and set the name Shelly or something, right? But this is a blueprint. Each bug is going to have its own name, number of legs, color, has wings, right? So when we come into main, we need to make some bugs. So whenever we make a bug variable, we need to make something that holds a bug, right? We need to make something that holds a bug. So string is a class, and we just say string. Scanner is also a class, and we just say scanner. And bug is a class, so we can just say bug. That's it. And then we have our variable name, my bug, equals, and we need, every time we instantiate an object from a class, meaning we take this blueprint and we make an actual object out of it, we need to say Java, we're making a new object, new bug, right? You always need parentheses because these are the parameters. We're not taking any parameters in right now. This is going to give us an error, I'm pretty sure. Oh, it doesn't actually give us an error. Wow. Now, the thing is that this variable, my bug, is a bug, right? So you can go like this. You have my bug, right? And it has all of these parameters. If I make a second bug called my other bug and make a new bug, it copies all of the well, it doesn't copy the parameters. It's given its own set of parameters, right? My other bug, right? And if I edit this one, it doesn't change this other one. They're completely separate. So watch this. I'm going to go ahead and set my bug's name. My bug. If I want to access the name of this bug, I can say the variable that it is, my bug dot name. I can go in and edit its name equals Shelly, right? And that works. You can say system out print line. Oops. Actually, check this out. Some commenter said that you can just go print line tab and it puts it in there. Pretty nice, right? My bug dot name. And it should print out Shelly. Exactly. Do you see this? So this piece of information is stored inside of the object, right? It's stored inside of this object. Not this one. The first one. My bug. Okay. Oops. There we go. All right. So you could go ahead and change all these attributes, right? I'm going to put these next to each other. I'm going to save my other bug dot name equals Donnie. And I'm going to print line my other bug dot name. Completely separate. It's completely separate. Okay. So hopefully this makes sense. I tell you, I'm going to go over one more thing. Actually, no, I'm going to save that for the next video. Next video, we're going to go more in depth with how classes work and, more things that we can do with them. This is just a brief overview of how the structure works. Essentially a class, you just save information in it. It's a little collection. You make a copy paste of it. Makes it real easy. So I'll see you in the next video.